everybody. We're talking about creatine and muscle. We're talking about creatine and strength, creatine and longevity, and more. I'm chronic illness expert, Dr. Diane. I'm going to put some research in the show notes about what I'm talking about today. And what I have to say on the exacts of creatine is that some of the research is pretty controversial. So we do know that one of the mechanisms of how creatine helps with muscle growth is it helps your muscles more quickly replace the ATP, the cellular energy that is needed. So if you're doing creatine drinks while you are working out, for example, you may be able to lift more, to push harder because your body is not running out, your muscles are not running out of their energy source as quickly. That's one of the huge benefits of creatine. Now, there's been lots of studies that have shown or that have looked at if people use creatine when they're in cast or they're immobilized, does it help to prevent that muscle loss? And the studies are a little controversial, right? They're a little conflicting. Some studies say, yes, it helps. Some studies say, no, it doesn't. My feeling when I see this is it's probably due to way more intricacies than just the creatine, that there's other factors at play that maybe the creatine influences, but there's things that are limiting its effectiveness in some individuals. There's also some studies that suggest that younger populations may more easily benefit from muscle growth with creatine than older populations. But some studies also say that for older populations, the legs more easily benefit from creatine than the arms. What that says to me, if we're seeing these older populations where their legs are benefiting more than our arms, typically we're going to use our legs more in a day than our arms. If we're not, say, working out, or even if we are, we're still walking around, we're going upstairs, we're getting on and off toilets, in and out of chairs, which is going to require more legs than arms most of the time, unless you're really using your arms to push up. But for the most part, that's more use of the legs. So I do wonder when I see this, conflicting research of younger populations versus older populations not having those same results from creatine, that maybe it's due to the intensity of the workouts, what they're doing, because we do know that creatine really can help with that muscle recovery, with the ability to push more. And that's one of the biggest things with creatine is that since we are able to push our muscle further to failure and we're able to work harder, we're able to then grow more muscle from that. So, and then that's especially important because of the studies on immobilization, where it's like, well, is it really, we don't use our muscles, is creatine really helping? Definitely looks like not near as much. So there's also studies that are really pointing to doing a loading dose of creatine, anywhere from 15 grams to 20 grams shows up a lot. And that loading dose is saying doing 15 grams to 20 grams from about 5 days long to 7 days long, and then more moving to a maintenance dose of 3 to 5 grams a day. So that's, of course, going to depend upon your body, your uniqueness. Always take these things to a doctor, of course, but I'm just giving you the education on what I see in creatine. So it definitely looks to me in research, definitely been my own experience as a creatine user, that it can hugely help with muscle growth. But the jury's still out on some of the other uses of creatine, like does it really help with immobilization? And certainly it does look to me in research that the best way of making creatine work is you got to work out, you got to move, you got to push your muscles when you are on the creatine, because it's really that, like I said, that movement of more ATP and energy into your muscle so you can work harder. That's one of the huge mechanisms of how creatine works. Recovery and some of those other things that you see online, maybe. I mean, there are some articles that point to creatine helping with recovery. There's some articles that point to creatine not helping with recovery. So I think there's more than just creatine going on there. I think there's more components, more things and uniqueness that individual to individual might be doing. So when I see stuff like that and I see conflicting things, that's always a good thing in my mind for a personal trial, right? It's like we're all unique, and sometimes what's going to work for one person, we know this, is not going to work for every person. So you might see if you notice that when you take creatine, if it helps you more or not after a workout as far as recovery. And maybe it helps you and maybe it doesn't help another person, but it does certainly seem to be helpful as far as the growth of muscle, as far as the ability to have more energy to work out, And I've certainly seen that difference in my own life and in my own workout routine. So please do share this with friends or family if this has been helpful. I will definitely be putting out more information like this. So please do subscribe to my channel so you don't miss anything, covering a wide variety of chronic illness things on this channel. I'll see everybody real soon.